And see. Fine, perfect. So, once again, welcome everybody. Chiara Cetma, Sapienza, University of Rome, and we are here together with our project partners, Antonella Passani, T6 Ecosystem, and I think, do we have anybody else from T6, Antonella?
No, not today.
Right. Okay. Then we have Caterina Pozzobon, Luca Bertocci, and Chiara Salari from Sapienza again, Marina Fran from Epica, Federico from Raw News, and we have.
Carolina.
Sorry, yeah, we have Carolina from Regenera Network, and who is here from CMMI? Maria. Maria. Okay, sorry, but we are really a lot of people today. So I see a lot of teeny tiny faces in my screen, and I think it's well the time to start. So Antonella, if you want to share the slides. Okay, this is the second webinar and matchmaking session for the third open call of PartArt for Ocean and Water. Next. Perfect. Okay. This is the agenda for today. We are having a welcome and introduction. So I'm going to introduce you to part art and the core concept of the project. Then we'll go through the accelerated program and the challenge of the third open call. So the specific challenge applicants are required to answer in their proposal. Then we'll go through the eligibility criteria and the submission process, and eventually we are going to give you some insights about the financial guidelines and the contracts that winners are going to sign, and we will have time for question and answer just after it. Next, please. What is PartArt for Ocean and Water? It is a collaborative initiative which is aimed at harnessing the power of participatory art and creativity to promote an awareness, but also action toward ocean and water sustainability. PartArt provides winning applicants funding, training, mentoring, and networking opportunity. And this opportunity is going to be given to all successful participatory art initiatives that are going to be funded by this third open call. What is participatory art? Is a process that emphasizes the proactive role and the participation of citizens, communities, and society in general in creative, innovative, and artistic projects. Participatory art is a process that empowers citizens and community through the reinforcement or the building of social bonds. We want PIEs to engage citizens across different stages of the creative process, and this engagement is directed toward creating awareness and promoting societal change for strengthening the knowledge, connection, and care for the ocean and internal waters. Examples of activism in which citizens can be involved include project idea development, participation in artwork development, participation in the research process, which means data gathering, analysis, development of measurements tool, or advocacy, evaluation, communication, just to name a few. But it goes without saying that we will be very happy to have project including participant in all the phases of the project. Next, please. So what is a participatory art initiative? It is intended to be a trans and interdisciplinary initiative, cross-sectorial and participatory project lasting for 6 months, and the PIE's team should be composed of people from different background, expertise, who are willing to collaborate to go beyond their disciplinary or sectoral boundaries and collaborate across discipline and sectors to promote and to realize some innovative, creative, and significant transformative activities for the local places. So Individual organization can apply, but we give preference to consortium consisting of organizations from different sectors, which means art, creativity, science, and citizen engagement. Next, please. What artistic and creative expressions are we looking for? All, basically. So PIs are expected to use at least one mode of artistic and creative expressions, but they may want to combine more than one. So these kind of expressions includes, but are not limited to, the visuals or literary, performing, or new media, digital art, fashion design, gaming, etc. Next, please. These initiatives, the participatory art initiatives, are intended to promote ocean literacy. I'm sure all of you are absolutely aware of what ocean literacy is, but just to give you a very brief understanding, with ocean literacy, we mean the comprehension of how the ocean impacts on individuals and society, and how individuals and society affect the ocean and waters. So we mean the capability to recognize the ecosystem value provided by the ocean, to effectively communicate about the ocean, to make informed and responsible decisions regarding the ocean and water. So ocean literacy encompasses the elements of knowledge and awareness, emotional attachment, changes in attitudes and behavior, and opportunities to put new knowledge into practice through action and communication activities. Ocean literacy should not be solely intended as individual responsibility, but entails collective understanding. Therefore, collective action and triggering community, society initiatives is crucial. Next, please. I'm now giving the floor to Fran Hepica for describing the accelerator process.
Okay, thank you all for being here, and it's a pleasure to have you here. So I will explain you the accelerator now. As you know from the website and the information that you already read from the code, I'm sure this is not only money, but it's also a procedure. We are trying to help you and to be part of your team during your residency by putting the attention on how to improve your impact, your visibility, your ethical approach, everything that we can afford to your project. So this is quite important that you consider us not only as evaluators, that of course we have to be, but it's not what we are looking for, but we are looking for sharing experiences and helping you and also learning from you. You know, this is the idea of we are all in the same mission. So what we want is to create this kind of ecosystem where you can also gather new knowledge and share knowledge with us and with the other selected PIs. So this is quite important. So you will have during the procedure a dedicated mentor from our side. And at the beginning of the accelerator, you will have to participate in an accelerator program. What's the bootcamp, sorry, of the accelerator? Is just to block at the early beginning the basics that we need to accomplish during the residency. Normally here we tackle important things like how to measure the impact, how to be ethical, compliant with us, with you, and also with the commission, how to improve the visibility, which kind of duties you will have to do during the process. And it's quite important because during this first week, what we work with you is trying to help and to go from this kind of good idea that we selected to a full ready proposal. During the first month that we divided the acceleration, we work a lot in trying to fine tune and close the implementation detail. Sometimes we have to put on paper the dates, the timelines, the connections that you need, which kind of things, just to detect from the early beginning how to really make it happen. 6 months looks like a lot, but it's nothing when you have to establish the community, when you have to design the process, work with the people, and closing a final event. So it's quite important. Then once we finalize the first month, we have something like 4 months helping you with the implementation. Normally it works like we have big weekly meeting just to follow up and to see that everything is properly working. And then here we detect potential issues or fields of expertise required, and then we can access to the rest of the consortium. Maybe Antonella can help you with the impact, Chiara with the participatory approach, Carolina with the communication. So this is the kind of things that we do. And then in the next meeting, we try to focus on the already detected things. And then last but not least, the final exhibition. That remember that you have to do it twice, not twice, but you have to do it locally for your people. And then at the end of the process, here in December 2026, you will have to come here to Barcelona to showcase what you have done. That it does not mean that you have to replicate what you have done locally, because it's not possible, because it's a participatory approach, but you have to come here for the final evaluation and also for showcasing to the rest of the audience internationally, hopefully, what you have done. So consider this acceleration part as a structural part of your project that we can help you and learn from you. We are not something like gurus that will tell you what to do, but of course, understand that we have these two hats. The first one is like an evaluation, because at the end we are in a cascade funding process and we need to be compliant, and you have to do the duties that you proposed at the beginning, but also in a way to help you to improve the potential things that can be improved. Maybe you are not needing us anymore, but this is mandatory. I mean, we have to discuss, we have to talk, and we have to more or less agree that everything is properly done. Okay, then another important thing, that the very, very last thing, sorry, is that in the midterm, let's say we are talking July, August, at the end of September, first, the beginning of October, we will also do a mid-check point in order to see that everything is working properly. And this is mandatory and quite important for the evaluation of the process. Okay, so I hope to have you here helping you. Of course, all this acceleration process is online. You will only have to be here in Barcelona at the end of the process. So consider this kind of visit to Barcelona for a couple of days, put the demo days in your budget with your proposal, because it's mandatory on the process. And also understand that you need to block some time for us in a way to help you. And also this kind of 3 days distributed in a week for the sessions in the initial bootcamp. So thank you very much, and I hope it's clear.
Thank you, Fran. Now we move to the specificity of this third open call. Very important is that what we are saying today is just part of the information that are related to the call and to this competition, let's say. So we strongly invite you to study carefully the guide of applicants and the FIQ, and to reach out in case you have doubts to our support email, because of course in 1 hour time we cannot go into all the detail of the call, but you will find all the information that you need on the guide of applicants. That is your Bible. you should really refer to it when you write your proposal. And the most important part, and the first part, let's say, of the guide of applicants is the third open call. So the title of this call is Community for a Sustainable and Equitable Blue Economy. We are looking for projects that engage community, coastal or inland, in rethinking and reshaping a sustainable, resilient, and equitable blue economy. But what do we mean with blue economy? In this context, blue economy refers to any economic activity related to the ocean and sea, as well as rivers, lakes, and other water systems. It covers a lot of sectors, included but not limited to fisheries, aquaculture, tourism, energy, transport, conservation, biotechnology, water-based food system. This is the challenge. So if you have a wonderful project on plastic pollution, this is not the call for you. If you have a wonderful project on alien species, this is not the call for you. So I know that this is limiting your creativity, but this is the third call. So we already did the first and the second, and this is what we're looking for the third call. The call will be extremely competitive. I can already tell you from the number that we have here today and in the previous webinar. and previous calls. So just really, really stick to the challenge. This is the first criteria that the reviewer will look at. So we are particularly, so this is the broad topic. We are particularly welcome proposal that adopt a whole system perspective. Does it mean we want to look projects that have a complex system approach, looking at the ecological, economic, social, cultural dimension of water-based sustainability, that explore lesser known or overlooked aspects of the blue economy, including its environmental trade-off or societal impacts or societal trade-off. Investigate the invisible and intangible examples, carbon flows, social inequality, labor condition, ecosystem threshold, or cultural shift that are not immediately perceptive. Co-create new narrative, methods, and sensory experience that help community working towards sustainable water future. Amplify local voices, especially those historically underrepresented in ocean governance. For us, the concept of diversity, inclusivity, and equity are very important. So this is an important aspect to be considered when writing your proposal too. So one more word, so complexity, invisibility, innovation, and as Chiara said, we are looking for projects that do not work only on awareness raising, but really that work on practices, innovation, new way of thinking, new way of doing things, and that put community at the center. So the title Community for Sustainable and Equity Blue Economy put community as first word because of that. There are different eligibility criteria. We received already some emails asking for this. Please refer to the guide of applicants of this open call. This is on the website. The eligibility criteria of the other calls do not apply. These are the eligibility criteria that you have to look at. Participant can be individual, legal entity, and consortia. They must be established in a EU member state or associated country. Entity from third countries may participate in consortium but cannot lead a consortia, cannot receive direct funding from PartArt4OW project. The list of associated country and third country has been recently updated by the European Commission, and you find as an annex in the guide of applicants, so please have a look at it. Clearly, entities that are subject to the EU restrictive measure under Article 29 of the Treaty of the European Union and Article 215 of the Treaty of the Functioning of the EU are not eligible to participate in any capacity. Also, these change on a regular basis depending on the geopolitical situation of different countries, so please check it out. All projects must be implemented within the EU member state or in associated countries. Each consortium, each entity can participate only in one application. We understand that this can be particularly tricky for large organizations like research centers or university that may have different departments, different centers. Please do your best to check internally with your colleagues if someone else is applying, because only one application is allowed for each legal entity, let's say. Double funding is not allowed. What does it mean? Very practically is that if your project has been already financed, is already financed by another project, by another financing authority, you cannot ask PartArt to finance the initiative again. Of course, you can build on previous activities. You can complement the proposal with other actions, but cannot be 100% the same. This is very important. So, for example, if you have, I don't know, you're organizing a festival with art and science activities in it and is already happening and is already funded by the municipality, you cannot ask us to finance that. But you can ask to finance, I don't know, a cinema talk related to the same topic in the same venue, but as far as it's not financed already by someone else. The project organization that received already funded from PartArt4OW and Water cannot participate in this third open call. we need some document from you besides the proposals that you will write. We need a letter of intent from an actor of the blue economy. This is to show that you are working with them uh, and not working on them. So not study them or thinking about them or analyzing them or collecting data about them, but you're working with the actors of the blue economy. This is very important. Then we need a letter of intent from the institution or organization that will host your main event. Typically, it could be the final event, or it depends on your project, of course, but we foresee in PI to create a big, large event. In this case, if you say that you will be hosted by the local aquarium, we need a letter of intent from the aquarium. If you say that he's in the main square of your city, again, we need the letter of intent from the municipality that proof that you already have an agreement on that. And we need these two letters of intent from the Blue Economy Actor and from the hosting of the event, even if they are part of your consortium. Then, if you rely on external to the consortium actors for citizen engagement, then we need a letter of intent from this organization too. For example, you plan to work with the work union for fishermen in order to get fishermen on board of your project. If they are not part of your consortium, you need to have a letter of intent from the union. Or if you work with schools, we need a letter of intent from the school. This is just to prove that you already have the agreement and that you are able to kickstart, because 6 months are short and these kind of networking activities are very time consuming sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't happen as you plan it. Of course, you have to respect the deadline, 10 of March. There is a timestamp in the system that we will look at. The system is very strong and we can trust it, but it's a system. So if 100 people try to submit the proposal at the very last moment, it will slow down. And this can result in your application to arrive later than the timestamp for the deadline. So please, please, please do not wait the last moment to submit your proposal. When you start working on a proposal, you can submit, and then you can change and change and change and update your proposal up to the deadline. So please do it considering this potential risk. There are questions in the submission portal. All of them need to be answered. And all application must be accompanied by a signed declaration of honor of the lead entity. And they need to be signed with the proper signature, so not just the typing name and surname. We need a signature. It can be electronic, it can be physical, but need to be signed. Then you submitted your proposal. No, let's go back before you submit your proposal. So you read all the guide of applicants and the FAQ very carefully. You download the application from the website. You download the letter of intent and you ensure that are properly filled in and signed by the legal representative of the different actors and organization. You download, read, and sign the declaration of honor. And then you go to the platform, which is EasyChair. If you have an account, you use your account. Otherwise, you create another account. And on the website, there is also a tutorial on how to use the platform, how to create an account and how to submit a proposal. Then you write your proposal, make sure to answer all the questions and upload all the required documents, and then you submit your proposal. As I said, on the project website, you find all the documents and templates to be downloaded. Then what happened? You submitted on time and you filled in everything. We do the eligibility check. So we look if the eligibility criteria are met. If not, you will receive an email saying that unfortunately your proposal didn't meet the eligibility, didn't pass the eligibility check. If you pass the eligibility check, then we will have 3 reviewers reading and evaluating your proposal. The proposal with the higher score are included in a list that will be invited to interviews. In the interviews, we will look at the review comments, ask you questions, and give you the possibility to provide additional details and, let's say, pitch for your project. Then we reach a final decision, and you will receive an email saying if you won or you didn't won. After the shortlisting, the projects that are not shortlisted will receive an email saying that they didn't pass, they didn't reach the interview stage, and you will receive the reviewer scores at aggregated level and comments. The three main criteria for the evaluation are relevance, quality, impact, which are also the three main part of the application form. In order to pass to be ranked for the interviews, you need to pass all the threshold in all the selection criteria plus the overall threshold. In the guide of applicants, there is a dedicated annex explaining all the criteria, sub-criteria, and the scores and the thresholds. The application form, the proposal must be 5 pages, not one line more than that. Otherwise, you risk to be just excluded from the review process. There are in the first page of the application form, there is all these rules. It's very important to follow and to apply all the rules that are listed here. It's a matter of fairness to the others. So the font is Arial, the minimal font size is 11 points, the space is a single line spacing, the margins are defined. If you change all of these, you will have more text, and this is not fair to the others. So proposal that do not apply, do not respect the form will be not considered eligible in any case, because this is the limit that we give for everybody, so we have to respect. Chiara, do you want to go on this slide?
Yes, I'd like to give you some trivial suggestions on how to write a proposal. So, first of all, in consideration of what Antonella just described, please consider that every word counts. This means that the way in which you write down your proposal is very important. This is the only things that reviewers have to evaluate and to understand what you really aim to do. And 5 pages are not such a long amount of pages for describing in detail. So think twice about the meaning of each word, because we consider the meaning of each word. So your project has to be crystal clear in every section, and you need to answer exactly to the questions that you will find on the format. So pay extra attention to the word in the application forms and in the guidelines. This is very helpful for you to make your project absolutely fitting with what we are looking for, and also for us and for the reviewer to evaluate your proposal. What we ask is what we want to know. Therefore, again, answer the question precisely and punctually. Don't issue questions, which means do not repeat content, and try to understand what the question is exactly looking for. What do we want to know? Because if you see some questions that seems a repetition, this means that probably you need to give a second thinking about it, because there are some degrees of difference, and you need to really go into this difference to provide an acceptable and interesting and also valuable answer. So the guidelines, as Antonella said, are for you to study them. Then, last point here, be pragmatic, realistic, schematic, and logically coherent. Add graphics if you want, and design if this helps the reviewers, if you think this helps the reviewer, but you need to be Absolutely. Sure, you remain in the acceptable length. If you think that schemata, bullet points can help to understand your project, feel free to use them, and try to think in a logically and coherent way. We want to see creativity in your project, but we need to assess also your capability to perform in a punctual, rigorous, and exact way what the accelerator program is requiring. So, Antonella, you're muted.
Sorry, before we go on. So do not write, we will do workshops. How many workshops? Where? Who are the participants? How many participants? What is the methodology that you will use in the workshop? What you will be doing? Give us as much detail as possible, and also the timeline. So you have this 6 months project, when things happen, which are the stages, and what is the relationship between your objective and the activities and the stage and the timeline. This is all very important. So be creative while doing things, but very structured when describing what you have in mind. This will be very appreciated by the reviewers, make their life easier to understand what you are aiming for. So the call is open. It will close on 10th of March at 5 p.m. Central European Time. You will know about the interview between the 16th and 17th of April, and the interviews will be between the 21st and the 27th of April. And the accelerator starts on the 1st of July. Again, for the think ahead. So if in July you know that you have to be in Iceland for another project and you cannot do the bootcamp and you cannot start the project, this is a problem. So do not think ahead in these 6 months. In that 6 months, a lot of things will happen and we really need to have you on board. And now, financial guidelines.
Yes, thank you. So, hi everyone. Today, my role is to guide you through a little bit the financial aspects of the call. As in the submission process, you will see you will be asked to prepare a first idea of budget. So, these guidelines can help you to prepare it. So, first, let's see how much you can receive. So, each PI can get up to 50,000 euros, and this is the maximum amount for each initiative. In case your project will be selected, you will receive the money as a lump sum in 2 stages. So 50% you will receive at the beginning by the first month of accelerator, and 50% after the delivery of the final report. So please consider that this means that some costs, so 50% of the funding, will have to be advanced by PI's teams, as you will receive the final installment after the end of the accelerator. Next, please. Now we take a little step back and see what a lump sum is. So first of all, lump sums are based on a budget estimate, which is provided in each proposal, and will be evaluated in terms of accuracy, credibility against the proposed activities. The specificity of a lump sum is that you will be not required to provide a comprehensive financial report. Nevertheless, you will have to keep the receipts and justification of expenses for a period of 5 years, just in case the Commission conducts an audit. Next, please. So if you get the money, if you win, how should you manage your expenses? First of all, the costs, they have to be real and incurred. All the expenses must fall in the 6 months duration of the accelerator, so you have to spend them within the 6 months. All expenses must be traceable, and all costs must follow the appropriate legal frameworks. Finally, all the expenses have to be managed responsibly, aiming at an efficient use of the resources. So this is just, let's say, common sense rules to keep in mind when preparing your budget. Next, please. Okay, now a quick overview on what you can actually spend the money on. So first of all, we have personal costs, so salaries and similar. Then you have subcontracting costs, which can be funded, but please keep in mind that the subcontracting amount of the funding must be limited, and this means that you cannot subcontract the majority of project activities to a third party. If you want to work with someone, you should include them in the core team. And also, of course, when subcontracting, you should follow competitive market practices. Then we have, in the next slide, please, we have purchase costs that can be covered with the funding, that include traveling, which can be fully funded. Then we have equipment and renting. And here, please consider that for this specific category, only depreciation costs can be covered. So, for example, if you buy a laptop for the project, you cannot charge its full cost on the project, but only the part that corresponds to the time that you actually use it for the project activities. So when you draft your budget, please keep in mind that this is something that concerns equipment. Then we have other goods and services, for example, catering or open access publication, and internally invoiced ones, such as, for example, access to research facilities or devices. Next, please. The next slide here, you can see indirect costs, which basically are all the costs that you will have to cover that are not part of the former categories, and they will have to be calculated as a part of the total funding of 50K. So what does it mean? It means that they are charged on a 25% rate on eligible direct costs. And here you can see an example in the table on how to calculate it. For example, for personal, you see if the cost over 6 months is 20,000 euros, then you have to calculate a 25% of indirect costs, which are also called overheads. And so we will have 5,000 euros, so for a total of 25,000 euros. So this is the actual table you will find in the application form. Next, please. There are also things you cannot spend the money on. So please remember that any deductible VAT cannot be charged to the project. And if we go to the last slide, we can see that, as already mentioned, you will have to keep track of all the expenses, even though it will be not requested to prepare a financial report. You will have to keep these expensive trackers, let's say, for 5 years. For example, with payrolls, records, receipts, tickets, invoices, depending on the type of expense. So I'm done. Thank you very much. And I will leave the floor to my colleague, Luca.
Hello, good afternoon to everybody. And I will present to you the contract. So next slide, please. My colleagues have already said lots of things. So basically, the contract you will sign with us if you win is among us, the Sapienza team, the coordinator team, the University of Roma Sapienza, and you, the third party. Please read the contract. It is attached to the guide for applicants. You can see there all the pages of the contract you will see. So please read it now and be aware of what you will sign if you win. Next slide, please. In the contract, basically, you find 3 sections. First, the reciprocal obligation of the parties among you and us, the University of Roma Sapienza, the methods, requirements, and timing of payments. The colleagues already talk about this, but I will come back on that in a while. And then the annexes. So please read all these materials very carefully. Next slide, please. So basically, in the contract, in the first, I think, 6 or 7 articles, you find all the obligations you have to be compliant with our consortium. Specifically, read very carefully Article 5, where there's written all the things you have to do to be compliant and then to receive the second payment, the second slot, the 25K maximum that Caterina described before. You have to do the midterm interview, as Franz said at the beginning, and then to prepare the work plan during the first month of the accelerator, during which you have also to take into account the comments by the ethical revision your project will go through. Then in the guide for applicants, there are all the very important things you have to give us during the implementation of the project. So, for example, audio and video materials, the text for social media posts, and so on. All these things are mandatory. We need them to be, and you have to do them to be compliant with the contract. And you find all this information in the chapter 16 of the guide for applicants. So next slide, please. As far as the final report is concerned, it is very important because it is needed. You have to write it and send it to us after the first month. In the first month after the sixth month of the project. So in the first month after you finish the project, you will receive a template to prepare this final report based on the work plan you will prepare during the first month of the accelerator, and we will read this final report, and on the base of this report, in which you have to include the project description, the activities, the communication dissemination stuff you did, and so on. On this base, you will receive the second amount of payment. If you will not be compliant with the contract for some reasons, for example, you don't furnish us all the video materials and other stuff, we can decide not to pay you with the second slot of the payment. This is very important. Everything of these cases, all these cases are described in the contract. So please read it in the guide for applicants. It is attached to the guide for applicants. You can find in the website. Next slide, please. As far as the payments, I think I can skip this because already the colleagues talk about that. But basically, if you sign the contract in June 2026, you will receive the first payment by the beginning of July. And at the end of September, beginning of October, the midterm interview, then the final report, which is due by the end of January 2027. And by the end of February 2027, you will receive the second payment if all the things I said before will be done. Next, please. As attached in the contract as annexes, you will find also these, which is very important because to pay you, we need your bank accounts, but for you to give us them, you have to fill in this module, which is the official one furnished by the European Commission. And with this in our hands, you can give us your data and we can pay you. So please give us this data through that document. It is attached to the contract. And then as an annex, you also find this informed consent you have to sign the moment you sign the contract, because this allow us to use your personal data and the data of your leader and to share these among our consortium. It is fundamental for us for all the communication activities we have to implement. And this is legal because we have shared among the consortium a data sharing agreement. So all this is compliant with the GDPR in European Union. Next and final, please. Also, in the attached to the contract, you will find a series of articles coming from the GA, the grant agreement we PartArt have signed with the European Commission. All this is just a selection of the articles of the GA we have signed with the European Commission, and it is fundamental for you also because the contract you will sign with us is based on these articles. So in the body of the contract, you will see references to lots of articles. All these articles which are quoted in the body of the contract are repeated at the end of the contract so that you can look at them and, how to say, be aware of why we decide to write the contract in the way you will see. Next, I think there is another one, but I'm not sure. Maybe yes, no, thank you.
And now the question and answer. I will just go through those that are in the chat, that are just a few. So the first one was
Yes, Antonella is the one we got from Maria Vittoria Marra, Galway Atlant Aquarium at 1433. I can answer this one while you find it.
Okay, go.
Can a proposal that was already submitted for another call be submitted again? Yes, in case this has not been funded. And you can reframe it, yeah. But I mean, it's important that the new proposal follow exactly the guidelines and pay an extra attention to the new challenge, which might require to reconsider the activities, the envisaged activities in a previous proposal for this third code. But yes, the answer is yes. And second question, if the proposal involves artists with intellectual disabilities who may not be able to travel to Barcelona for the demo day with some of the other members of the consortium allowed to represent the project, yes, of course.
Yeah. Then there are a couple of questions about eligibility. So it is Natasa Mazzalica. Please write us an email so we can go through the situation of the different countries that you that you mentioned, and give you a more secure answer than not on the fly now. And the same about the Romani organization that do kayak, and is asking if kayak can be considered a blue economy actor. Again, I would prefer to have these questions by email, so to be sure to go back to European Commission definition on sectors and give you an answer that is more trustable than on the fly. This video will be shared on the website, but the PowerPoint that we use will not be available, but is available the video.
You also have a question from Giorgia Manfredoni and Antonella. We basically ask the same thing. So she's asking who can be considered as an actor of the blue economy.
Okay, there was a slide on this, and there is a full list, not the full list because it's almost possible, but the tourist, the energy, the transportation sector, the research organization, the fisheries, of course, the aquaculture. There is plenty, and in the guide of applicants, there is a reference to the website of the European Commission in which all the sector and subsectors of the blue economy are listed. In any case, if you have, I mean, go there, and if you have doubts, you can reach us. Murat is asking, what is the percentage of each for evaluation? How many projects will be funded in total? Will be funded 7 projects, but I'm afraid I don't understand the question about the percentage. You mean the 3 criteria, the weighting of the 3 criteria? Murat? Science, technology, and art. No, science, technology, and art are not divided for us. The project need to have all of 3. It's not really science, technology, and art, but it's science, art, and citizen engagement. So the 3 pillars for us are science, art, and citizen engagement. So it's a little bit different from STARS as a program. This is another program, and is funded under another program of the European Commission that is Mission Ocean. So for us, the 3 pillars are science, art and creativity, and citizen engagement. You can work with inland water and sea water and ocean water, whatever. Okay. We are a group of artists. We are a group of artists who are preparing a large project in 2027 in collaboration with marine scientists. Could our project in 2026 be a series of workshops in preparation for the large project with the first smaller public presentation in December 2026? Okay, we are not providing the service of validating your project idea, because it would be unfair compared to those that write us or ask us about this idea, do you like the idea, and those that do not do. So we cannot answer, but if you read the guide of proposal, you will find your answer in there. Can you share a short example of a project funded in your in the previous call? Is there a list of approved projects in your project website? Yes, if you go on our project website, and I can share with you, there are all the projects that have been financed so far with their activities, and also on our social media you will find information about our PIs. Tourism is considered as part of the economy? Yes. Marianne Balfour.
Hi, yes, sorry. I have to jump into another meeting soon, but I just popped a question about the slides. Would it be possible to receive the presentation so that we can share them with our internal team?
No, I'm sorry. We're not sharing the slides, but the video will be available on the project website with the
Okay. With some slides.
I mean, exactly the recording of these demo days.
Okay.
So everything that has been said will be there.
Thank you.
There is another question that might have been skipped by Nella Milic about have you considered the exclusion of people with sickness in this project? You probably mean the inclusion of people with sickness. The project you can submit require you also to consider the minority groups or groups of people that are underrepresented in the ocean and water activities. So yes, I would say yes, people with sickness can be considered in your proposal.
And about the email you can use for reach us is on the website, it's on the guide of applicants, it's also in this email, in this slide, open call partart4OW@gmail.com. And I also want to know more about inland water. You can work on inland water or sea or both or lake, a river, any kind of water basin is acceptable for this call. And do the local community have to be practically be involved in the artistic process, or they can contribute with interviews or other elements as well? Or maybe we should focus on engaging them only? As was said, the citizen engagement and citizen participation and community participation is central. It's absolutely central. So the more you can engage them, the better. Community should be the center of the project. Does it have to be focused on Europe or can be South American collaboration with Europe? Okay, the implementation of the project needs to happen in European country or associated country. This doesn't mean that you cannot have a collaborator from South America. It depends of the country, but the activity needs to be in Europe or associated country and engage because it's an European project and need to increase the awareness of European citizens water literacy, ocean literacy. Engaging blue economy actors, Fisher's guilds would adequate citizen engagement, or do we have to engage wider citizen group and blue economy entity? It really depends on your project and on your objective and the shape of your project. I would say that, for example, if you engage a company of aquaculture for monitoring, I don't know, water quality, then citizens need to be engaged in order to make sense. So you need both. If you consider fishers as community, depends really on the shape and form that the project will take. For Bosnia and Herzegovina and third country, please write us an email, Natasa. Please send us an email so we can check with the due attention the situation of this country in this moment. Thank you. The project I would like to submit have already had official presentations in institutions in its initial phase, but the part I would like to submit is unpublished. That is the final one. Is this admittable? So I think this is a question about double funding. So you did a project, has been financed, has been finalized, and you want to do a follow-up of that project or scaling up that project. Yes, this is perfectly acceptable. Or even reproduce the project for another annuality or for another community. Maybe we can take one more question. If you want to talk, you can talk. The chat is a little bit cold. We are here. Igor is saying bye-bye, I think.
Okay, my name is Birgitta Weimer. We are a group of scientists, marine scientists and visual artists. We work about the deep sea mining, and we had already conferences, and we are planning different projects, including exhibitions in museums in Netherlands and Norway and Germany. But this is not possible to do all this in this year because this is not how museums work. So we are planning now about we couldn't finish a project this in the term you define. So can we apply just for a part of the project, or yeah, how does it work?
Well, as far as you answer the question and your project has a sense and reach some outputs that are interesting for the challenge, then of course, yes, but you don't have to present us the whole project. You should present only the 6 months activities that you can carry on within our accelerator and need to be consistent, have a logic, and have an impact.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so maybe we can, if there are no further questions, we can close it here and move with Fran to the matchmaking session. That is exactly what you're already starting doing on the chart. So it's the in which artists can find scientists and scientists can find artists and artists and artists and scientists working together to have projects that are more impactful and more interesting. So we can close again once again. If you have doubts or if we didn't answer to your questions because maybe skip it from the chat, please write us an email. We will do our best to answer as soon as possible. Do not use any other communication mean. So don't write us on social media because we will not answer. We will not see it. We will not follow through. This is already written in the DOA, in the Guide of Applicants, but I want to repeat, use only this email and we will do our best to answer as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
So, Marina, can we stop the recording?
Hey, everyone.